Hi, I'm Vedangi. I just returned from a bike ride around the world. Here's what I took with me. So if you were to ask me how much my bike weighed, I have no idea about that. What I can tell you though is that it has most of the things that I carried with me for a 29,000 kilometers ride. The bags that I carried with me were tail fin, and this is a trunk bag with a carbon rack. Normally in here I carried my toiletries, so mostly just all the things that I needed to make sure that once I reached where I needed to on the night, I was comfortable and had everything I needed. Then it's all the electronics, and actually this is like a really neat pouch. So it's one of the packing cubes, and I really love how there's all these little compartments to put your things in, and yeah, I just think it's really neat, and it helped me keep things quite tidy and nothing got lost, so that's a plus. So yeah, we've got the toiletries, we've got the electronics. Next thing up in the bag at the back is all the clothes. So I actually had like two different little packs for clothes. So I had my other packing cube thing and another packing cube thing, because I guess that's what packing cubes are for. So in here I mostly had things like what I'm gonna put on when I'm, like, you know, sleeping, a full sleeve jersey and a short sleeve top, then another sort of base layering top, a pair of leggings. Normally when I was traversing through airports and things, I used a little dress. A lot of my posts are in this, so yeah, that little dress, I guess. And then I had some riding stuff with me. Obviously you've seen the riding tops, but anyway, this is underwear, I guess. Socks. When I could, I rode in these Rab trousers. They're the Rab Cinder cycling trousers, and they are genuinely one of the best ones I've used so far, because I've even actually been using them for mountain biking, which has been great. But yeah, I've got, oh yeah, something quite important actually. Just outside that, I have my passport and my wallet. And then what else have we got? Yeah, just cycling shorts, a couple pairs. And I actually went for these Cinder liner shorts because a lot of my ride was quite warm, and in warm weather having something quite lightweight is nice. Another thing that I did was a little bit of my shorts. So I had one pair of shorts where I had cut out the padded bits, and I was using it just as, I guess, cycling shorts. But when I was on my period, for example, I would use the padded shorts. When I was going through some rough terrain, I would use padded shorts. So that, and I guess gloves. So my hands get cold really quickly, so I use some proper thick gloves for that. Next up, I've got my top tube bag and my frame bag. I was so stoked that I'd got this as a prototype, because this was probably one of the best bits of bags that I had. In here, normally this phone would go up here, like on this Peak Design mount, but because it's raining at the moment, I'd just taken it in there. But here I just had things like my earbuds. So normally I had one on at any point of time. I wasn't necessarily listening to anything, but I just like having one on because it announces messages and things, and I don't have to look at my phone, which is great. Then I had just my battery bank and my, I guess, cable. I had my spare bike computer, lip balm. I had my Whoop charger because yeah, that was handy. And something that I carry on every adventure, whether or not I think I'm gonna need it, my Swiss knife. And yeah, I kind of tried to keep this at minimal because I also had some snacks in this. In the main frame bag, I had my UDH, my puncture repair kit, this Topeak toolkit that I keep losing things from. This is the same one, literally the same one I used for the last round the world ride, and I've just kept on losing things from it, so I don't know what to say. I had a little Kamut spork that I carried everywhere, whether I needed it or not. This, I had a little bag with everything like, yeah, lube, tire levers, black tape, some more puncture repair, a spare exposure light mount. I had my pump in here, and actually when I was down in New Zealand I got myself some really nice Allen keys because the leverage for the Topeak one wasn't enough anymore and I needed big ones, so I had some of those. But yeah, like this side was just that. On the other side of the frame bag I had a couple of things. So I had my SRAM battery because I went with SRAM axis gearing, and I had a couple of Presta to Schrader adapters because when I was at gas stations I could then use the pump over there, and I had my brake spacers because on my way to the start line in India one of the spacers had come out because I hadn't put back in properly, and it caused a big problem. We had to drive a very long way to find a bike shop where I could get everything fixed. So to avoid that problem, for when I had to pack my bike at airports and things, I just had this there all the time. So on the cockpit we've got my phone mount, which was the Peak Design mount, my Garmin mount, which was actually, I used a Hammerhead Karu for this, so I've got that. But the way this was mounted, actually, this is on Canyon aero bars, but then Tailfin had actually 3D printed something so that it can go on top, so that I can have a Garmin mount as well as a phone mount up there, which was super handy. Next up, I also had my exposure light. So I used a dynamo light with a Son hub, which was super handy because a lot of my riding was done in the night, and yeah, that was great. Up in the front I've got my favorite bag, I think, because this is built for this exact setup, which I absolutely love. So for the Canyon aero bars, this is a bag made, custom made. In these side pockets, there is plenty of space for all sorts of snacks, sunscreen, elbow handkerchief, but I normally had like 2 zip-tied bags with all sorts of snacks in them. It was amazing. In the actual bag, I had a set of gloves. Also in the bag, I had a pair of shoes because I sort of needed some barefoot shoes for when I wasn't riding, I guess. Leg warmers, another handkerchief, buff, and my waterproof trousers, waterproof jacket, and a reflective jacket, and that's it really. This bag was for everything that needed to be super handy and fetch quickly, but that was kind of the setup that I carry around the world. I used a POC gravel helmet with MIPS so that my head is safe, and it's got some mounts on it which I believe are for lights as well as whatever else you want to put in them. There you go. This is what I carried with me for my round the world ride. If you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments, or you can also message me. Thanks for tuning in.